Hey guys, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review, and I'm glad to be back again. Sorry I've been taking so long. There's been a lot of stuff going on, not a lot of time to do these reviews after work because when you get off anywhere between, and I hate to say it, between 4:30 to 7 or so o'clock, it's like you look, it's 8 o'clock, and then, I always like to have my little free time, and I could do it, and plus, with me doing a lot more fuller movie reviews, I know I'm at least going to need an hour or more to do these things. So that's the other thing as well. I'm going to need a lot more time to do these movie reviews, and that's the thing. It's just finding the time and having the time mesh well. But either way, I'm back again, ready to give you a movie review that I watched a little while ago. Finished, pretty far, but hey, it's still here, and I'm ready to show it to you. And it is actually another anime movie. Believe it or not, it is another anime movie, and it is one of the short ones, and it is a bit of a weird one. I understand the main focus of the plot a bit more, but it is a little bit of a weird thing to take place and have happen. But it is this one here, and it is Kaidomaru. Kaidomaru, and as you can see on the front of the cover, that is the main character, the Kaidomaru, or Kentoki, as her name actually is. And there are some places I was trying to find why Kaidomaru was an important name, because it really is. Because they call the character of Kaidomaru, like, are you the Kaidomaru? And, I guess it's like a title of nobility or something that represents to the main character, to Kentoki, to her. But, it's never explained in the movie what it means, and I've tried searching it on the internet just now, and I guess I'd have to buy some Japanese folklore books, because that's what this movie is based off of, like historical folklore and possible storytelling of maybe a true story, but it's based off of Japanese painting stories, which they actually use in the beginning of this movie, which is actually a cool visual. In fact, this whole movie, and I don't know if you'd be able to tell on the back, but yeah, you can tell a little bit probably there in the back, that this whole movie it was made in a style of a Japanese painting. And while I was trying to research the movie, you had a lot of people on Rotten Tomatoes, the anime list, the Rotten, well, yeah, I already said Rotten Tomatoes, but Internet Movie Database, like all of them sort of have trashed this movie. And I'll admit, there is quite a few gripes with this movie from me as well, and they are there, so I cannot fault fans for that, because they are there in this movie. But if you want to know the best thing about this film, it is visually stunning and a good movie with some aspects of a good plot. And what happens is you have like the movie start out with Kentoki, where she's already taken up this mantle of prince, and we don't know why she's a prince, but I think it has something to do with the fact that Kentoki's uncle is a complete like sadist, and he wants power, and he'll do anything to get it. And Kentoki, who comes from nobility, her father was trying to hide her from it, and use her as a prince to protect the nobility of the family and to give it to what it was, because as you know, during these times, males were really the head and females were not at that point in history yet. But they treated Kentoki like a boy, so she could take over her father's throne. But the uncle didn't like that, so the uncle set out to kill her. And the let's see, Kentoki was aided by a friend during this time, Onihime, and Onihime was trying to lead her away. They were trying to escape into the forest, and they were being chased by, once again, all of her uncle's men, and I guess also as well, Onihime is Kentoki's cousin, from what I was able to find out through my research. And I will also give you the source of my research. Probably not the best reliable, but I did find it on Wikipedia. If I do need to trademark anything, I'll say it right now. Find my sources on Wikipedia about the movie, so there you go. But it seemed pretty straightforward. But yeah, Onihime is Kentoki's cousin, according to what I found out from the source, and which explains why Onihime is so prevalent through the movie. But as they were trying to get away, they were caught by Onihime's father, or Kentoki's evil uncle, and he's about to kill them. In a weird twist of fate, we see Onihime get stabbed. We don't see Onihime die, but she gets stabbed in a way that looks like she's going to die. And Kentoki actually gets mad, and in a wild fierceness, which I guess is part of what Kaido Maru really means, but there's actually a lot more to it. But that's what I found out with Anime News Network's help, is that Kaido Maru is like something of a wild fierceness, I guess. But it's not the whole thing, but it's part of it. Like I said, I could not find out what Kaido Maru means. So, once again, apologies about the title. Don't know why it's called this movie, and I will tell you guys right now, I know I haven't gotten a lot of comments from you guys, but hey, if you could put down, and if any of you know this movie, if you could put down and tell me what Kaido Maru actually means, I'd appreciate it, because I'd love to understand and have this movie better. And I'll admit, after, I think, my 4th viewing of Kaido Maru here, I do understand this movie better. I got more of the idea. And what happens is like I said, the uncle looked like he killed Onihime, was about to kill Kentoki. Kentoki, with her wild fierceness, gets up, slits a guy's throat, starts rushing at her uncle, but she gets hit, goes down again, and apparently, let's find out their names again. Oh yeah, Raiko Minamoto, who's one of the main generals in this movie, along with Suna and I think it's Suna, Michinaga, Masakato, and and Suetaki, and Sadamitsu. These were all part of the group that they were going to not Masakato, sorry. That's the flippin' evil guy of the Wolves of Mibu. But yeah, sorry. So let me redo this for you guys. I think it's Sadamitsu, Suetake, Suna, Michinaga, and it's no. Shoot. Michinaga is their master. My oh boy, guys. Sorry, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm also looking at Internet Movie Database because I don't have I didn't know all the character names by heart, and also I wanted to really find out some of the English voices of this movie. But let's see. Yeah, so Sadamitsu, Suetake, Suna, and Raiko Minamoto, these brave warriors, come out of nowhere, and they basically found out about the calamity of what was going on, and they rescue oh, sorry, I was gonna say Kaido Maru, but Kentoki. They rescue Kentoki, and she's trying to get away from him, but I guess Minamoto, Raiko, calms her down, and she understands that she was saved, and in a way she right then and there develops a interesting kinship with Minamoto, and it's sort of like a father-daughter thing, but in a way there's much more love to it. And, we basically go to the next scene after that, because I guess the uncle's plot for revolution and a coup was foiled, and Kentucky actually grows up. I think they said it's anywhere between 5 to 9 years later. I can't recall off the top of my head. They did say that in the research papers. I've closed all those things, so I can't really tell you. So I apologize again, this guys. I think it was 5 years later, if I'm not mistaken. But what ends up happening is Kentucky gets taken in by these four warriors, along with their master, once again, Michinaga, who is voiced by Larry Robinson, and Raiko Minamoto is Bruce Winant. And see here, oh yeah, and another little interesting tidbit, Sadamitsu is also played by Dan Green, so that was really cool too. Veronica Taylor and Dan Green, two really big guys I know pretty well in this. And as it continues on, we see how Kentucky has joined up with these warriors, Sadamitsu, Suna, Minamoto, and what's the guy's name? Oh yeah, Masakato. Suetaki, there we go, Suetaki. And she's joined up with them all, and she's become an axe-wielding warrior helping to protect the innocent. And, just try to drive back any civil unrest. And through this movie, there was like a plot to overthrow the government between a man named, what's his name? Oh, Sakatano, who was one of the governors, and he lost his two other brothers to a disease, because there's also a big disease that's going through the region, and he lost his brothers to it. But there's yet a plot to overthrow the current government system. It's getting bad, and as soon as we know that, it cuts to the beginning where we have Masakato now, who I believe is also part of the Shuten Doji, or the Ibargi Doji, as he's also called. But Masakato has a interesting face like that of Kentucky. We don't know why, we don't know how, probably some weird magic going on there, but he has a face, and it is a he. He has a face similar to that of Kentucky. And he's sort of just mulling over, and he's saying, lady, my lady, don't you like the pestilence and, the disease and the death and devastation that's going to be caused? Don't you like what you see? And then it pans over, and, this lady who says yes, because she is enjoying all this death and violence, she goes over, and we see somebody who eerily looks like Onihime. And we don't get a full shot, but it sort of looks like Onihime. And whoever these two people are, they start to put their plan completely into action. So we then go on to where, all the characters, Kentucky, Sadamitsu, and Suna, they're training, and as they continue to train, they're also with Suetake and Raiko Minamoto, and they're just going through their regular stages. And what happens is they're called out on a quest to go patrol the night in Japan. There we go, not the knights. They're knights themselves in a way, but they're going out to patrol the night in Japan. And as they're out, it's Sadamitsu, Suna, and of course Kentucky, who are there. They actually are patrolling the night, and there was a person who actually saw Minamoto, Suetaki, Suna, and Sadamitsu all together, because there was a parade earlier in the day, and they were actually acting security for this parade festival that was going on, because the governor, Sakatano, wanted this to happen, and he wanted the festival to continue and not have the people live in fear. And Sakatano had them guard the areas. But during that time, we saw this woman who I said looked like Onihime a little bit look out the window, and she realizes it's Kentoki, just older from the 5 and/or 9 years that's taken place after this. And like I said, I thought Onihime knew Kentoki was a girl because Onihime is in love with her, but I guess like it said on the Wikipedia plot page, that once again sourcing Wikipedia, like Wikipedia said that Onihime had no idea that Kentoki was a girl. She thought he was a boy, and which explains why, even after all this time, Onihime still loves Kentoki, which is a little creepy considering they are both girls. Because if she thinks it's a boy and it's like, no, you've been trying to get into the body of a young girl this entire time, who you're probably way older than, and hey. And as that continued on, Onihime saw her that night, and then we saw how we saw Masakato going out through the streets. He was in a caravan carriage, and oh, how dare I forget this part? Before that part happens, you have Onihime meet with another regional governor who's trying to overthrow a coup, and we see these two girls who were kidnapped and sold, who were of noble lineage, and they were going to be given to Onihime as sacrifices. So Masakato loads them up in Onihime's caravan. He's walking back. Sadamitsu, Suna, and Kentoki see this. They try to just, confirm that this person's of noble blood. He has a right to be out in the streets at night, but they just want to double check to make sure everything's okay, because they know there's been problems with this in the past. And as Kentoki, who takes point, tries to ask Masakato, Masakato turns around. Considering Masakato somehow looks like Kentoki, this spooks Kentoki. I believe Kentoki's head loses its horse, or her horse loses its head with a knife blow from Masakato. She falls off her horse, gets injured. You have Sadamitsu trying to intervene. The horse's leg, or Sadamitsu's horse's legs get cut, and then Sadamitsu falls. He gets actually crushed by his horse. He's not dead, but he gets crushed by his horse in many ways. And then after that, it's up to Suna, which Suna, like an ultimate badass, I'll basically say, comes out of nowhere, like takes Masakato's arm off, which he screams this really shrill, high-pitched scream, and he runs off saying, hey, warrior, I'm going to remember that. And but whatever happened, and Onihime and Masakato have achieved what they wanted to do with getting these two kidnapped vessels and these two girls that they wanted. But then we go back to Kentoki, who's actually getting nurse wounds alongside Sadamitsu, Suna, and Suetake. Raiko Minamoto went off again to still speak with Sakatano on certain matters, regarding this coup and everything. And what ends up happening is while they're alone, I believe it's Michinaga, the Lord Michinaga, the master. Oh, sorry, folks. Who basically said, what did you see? Kentoki. What did you see? And then she explains to her master that she saw her old face when she was younger on this man Masakato. She doesn't understand it, but she's seeing what's going on. And, the master understands that there's some sort of evil at work, but he doesn't go into it much either. And then we cut to the next scene, which is basically back to Masakato, who's still missing his arm, who's still bleeding. And we also have Onihime, who's like ritualistically has the girls back to back. She's kissing both of them, and she's like setting them up for something. And while Masakato comes back, we learn how Masakato and Onihime are part of the sect called the Shuten Dojis, the Wolves of Mibu. They're trying to overthrow the current government. And what happens is that these girls, after Onihime is done doing what she's doing, they awake and wake up, and we find out in a shocking bit of a twist, which I guess wasn't shocking because we really didn't get established to any of to Sakatano's brothers, but I mean, we don't know if it's truly them too because they don't go into great detail, but I'm going to assume it's them. I believe that Sakatano's brothers got put into the bodies of these two girls, and now they're running around living again, but living as young girls, and they want to provide chaos. They want to just, destroy the whole city, destroy all of Japan, and take it by force in removing the emperor and the regional governors. So what happens is before this happens, you have Sadamitsu and Kintoki training. They train really hard, they go at it, all these different things happen. Kintoki obviously gets the best of Sadamitsu as Suetaki and Suna look on. And as it continues, they get worried that, Sadamitsu's not going to be able to go on patrol, that he's too hurt, and Sadamitsu's like, well, it's going to take more than that horse that fell on me to keep me out of action. And Kintoki said something of, you may not have to, or it was something that, introduced a weird type of omen, which to that, once again, to that next scene bit, we have we have the city burning because Onihime set it up with Sakatano's brothers that they could go burn the city and destroy whatever they wanted to. So they're starting to do that, ironically, in the very same way that Kintoki's uncle and Onihime's father was trying to do, just by taking the government by force. And they were all masked in these different characters, and it was really a frightening aspect, and really is a creepy part of the movie. And they're just burning the city, just causing death, destruction, and chaos, while one of Sakatano's brothers recites a poem to the chaos and destruction that he's, sounds like he's almost getting off to, but we don't know for sure. But, as it just gets the death and destruction going. And Sadamitsu actually shows up into a different part of the town that isn't burning yet, but sadly, the other Sakatano brother is there, and Sadamitsu's like, well, I'll help you, I'll let you get to a safer part of the town. And then the other Sakatano brother just envelops this creepy smiles, this little girl, and then it just fades, and what happens is Onihime and a bunch of men are outside the main ninja compound. Now, bear in mind, Raiko is still on his way back from seeing Sakatano. Raiko was there with them at the beginning, but then he went back to see Sakatano again to discuss, what happened after the festival, all the current events and all the things going on, and all the inklings and rumors. So he's gone. So what ends up happening is you have, let's see, a couple things are happening. Yeah, you have Onihime, and a bunch of the men show up outside the soldiers' fort, and she's looking for Kintoki. Kintoki possibly is not around, but Michinaga is. And Michinaga, does his best trying to defend against these men, but they're, too numerous for him. They overwhelm him, and it's sort of a sad thing seeing this old man trying to, do his magics as he's getting beat down, because he obviously has some mage skill, and some of it starts to work against the guys. But like I said, he still gets overwhelmed. Kintoki actually comes out of nowhere, which I never knew she was doing this. She's hacking the guys down with her axe. So showing that she has a really good scene in this movie, besides the guy's throat she cut in the beginning, where she has a really good moment where she's hacking the guys down, trying to get to Michinaga, to protect him, because that's still her master, that's her mentor, besides Raikou and the others. And then, while she's getting there, Michinaga's just getting beat down. The men grab a hold of Kintoki. She was trying to save him. Onihime comes forward to try to caress Kintoki, but Michinaga uses a visual illusion to sort of make it look like the men and Kintoki are all melting in like a sort of rainbow goop, which actually infuriates Onihime. And Onihime then stabs Michinaga, thus, starting to kill him, and the illusion goes away. And then I guess what happens is they take Kintoki and they flee. And then during this time, we had a lot of cuts going back and forth between Suna and Suetaki, who were actually fighting in the city. Suetaki was a character who didn't really have much time to develop. Well, the rest of them didn't either. A lot of characters were really not well developed. I mean, you got the general idea, but Suna is this one-eyed, really awesome swordsman. Awesome long red hair, just really cool dude. And Suetaki's another cool guy as well. He's this warrior monk type dude, and he's really got a lot of skill and stuff too. Because they're basically two guys just hacking through these rebellious crew members, and like Suna's taking a bunch of them out with his sword, and you have Suetaki hitting him with his monk staff, and dressed as a monk, doing all that cool stuff. So that's really awesome at the same time too. And give me a sec, guys. I think my dog needs to use the bathroom. Better go take care of it, because I don't want him to have any accidents. So I apologize again. Just give me 1 moment. Huck, come on, buddy. I know you need to go out. I don't know why it hasn't been that long, but I know you need to go out. You're just choosing a very, very, very bad time. Alright, guys, I'm coming back. We're gonna keep in communication with you guys while I do these two, so hoi hoi hoi. Oi oi. It's better too after having some of that. But yeah, so so Suetake and Suna are fighting in the city, taking everyone on. Out of nowhere, Masakato jumps down, wanting to enact vengeance on Suna. And Suna's trying to parry Masakato's blows, and sadly Masakato gets his revenge on Suna, takes Suna's arm, and Suna's really hurt. He's not dying or anything. But what happens is it looks bad for Suna. Masakato's about to strike the death blow. Out of nowhere, luckily, Raikou comes back, Minamoto, and Raikou Minamoto shoots Masakato in the chest with an arrow. And, I think a couple other places, too, I'm not quite sure if I remember correctly. But, it looks like Masakato's going down. In a last-ditch, cowardly effort, Masakato, wanting his full vengeance, basically gets near Suna, and he explodes himself like a bomb goes off, kills both Suna and Masakato, which Suetake, who was, I would say, great friends with everybody in the group. Sadly, we didn't get to know much about this guy. Suetake is sort of the guy that did not get to do much out of everybody in this film, which is sort of the sad thing, because I'm like, he's a warrior monk, he should have been able to do more. But, both Raikou Minamoto and Suetake are in shock. Suetake so much that he yells out Suna in complete pain and grief. And then This is the one part that I thought was weird. Is you have Raiko Minamoto going back to their base, and he finds Michinaga. Michinaga tells him what happened, that they were, kidnapped by the Wolves of Mibu separatists trying to do all this chaos. And he says the Shuten Doji Onihime, but they don't know her name, but that's what she says. They're called the Shuten Doji, did all this, and, you have to save Kentoki. And then sadly, Michinaga dies. Now, the weird part is, where's Suetake? Or, yeah, Suetake. I'm going to say that Suetake is probably still in town dealing with the insurgents while Raiko Minamoto went ahead to, go see the base and go find out what happened to Kentucky. But it's weird at this juncture how there's only two guys left out of their whole group that Suetake didn't choose to go with them or whatever happened. Suetake isn't dead. We don't see him get killed, but, I'm just going to say because we don't see him get killed and nothing's mentioned off screen, Suetake survived. But, hey, hey. So Raiko Minamoto takes it upon the initiative, and he goes to follow the separatists, the Wolves of Mibu, to get Kentoki back. Meanwhile, you have Onihime with an unconscious Kentoki getting ready to, like, I guess, size her up, and you have the Sakatano brothers, lording over their own stuff, happy with the death and devastation they caused. And they knew showing up they wouldn't be a match for Raiko Minamoto. So Onihime's like, well, why don't you bring your new friend? So materializing behind the Sakatano brothers is Sadamitsu, who's been placed under a spell. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks a lot. And the reasons you see why will be coming soon. Because while Minamoto makes it to the base, Raikou takes out the front gate members with arrows. He goes down there. He's wielding a sword, takes out almost every guy at the base where they were posted. And then out of nowhere, Sadamitsu throws a spear, gets caught, and really badly in Raiko's side. So Raiko's really injured, and Sadamitsu's trying to come after him and kill him. And Raiko's got to do whatever he can to defend. And meanwhile, Kentoki's woken up, and she sees Onihime. Onihime's trying to embrace her lovingly. They're trying to kiss. And Onihime's like, well, oh, you belong to me. Let's go back to the way things were. I don't care about any of this revolution stuff. I want this stuff to be for you and me. I want us just to be in love and stay together forever. And meanwhile, Kentoki heard what was going on outside, and she knew that Raiko was in trouble. She was going to try to get there to help Raiko, but she couldn't. And what happens is Onihime grabs her, and we just hear, I believe it's Kentoki who says, I'm sorry to Onihime. And this is the weird part near the end of the film, is that while, Raiko Minamoto was fighting Sadamitsu, the Sakatana brothers, as girls are laughing, cackling, just evilly, Raiko Minamoto is doing his best to fight him off, is having a lot of trouble. And with Sadamitsu, it doesn't look like you can break Sadamitsu's spell. And how it ends is it ends with the sunlight. And we have Kentoki coming out. Kentoki looked like she got wounded in the side. I don't think too bad, but yeah, it looked pretty bad. She was still bleeding while going down the steps. And I'm going to assume that both Onihime and Kentoki tried to kill each other. I'm going to say that Kentoki got the best of the exchange because we don't see Onihime come out at all. So I'm going to say Kentoki got the best of the exchange. And what happens is she goes near Raiko. And it seems like Raiko's been killed by Sadamitsu. And the Sakatano brothers are gone. Sadamitsu's gone. And what happens is that Kentucky goes down. She's embracing Minamoto. Minamoto, I believe, is dead. And then the movie ends with let's go back to the city. You know, she says that. She's like, let's go back to the city. In a very somber mode because she's sad and she's basically lost almost everything at this point. And they do the credit sequence, but after the credit sequence, there's like several more pictures of the wall paintings they based this movie on. Like you have Suetake walking alone in the woods. You have a possible thing of Onihime still being there. Or maybe that's Kentoki as an older woman, sort of as a warrior diplomat. You have Sadamitsu leading an evil army. You have the Sakatano brothers, so as girls, out there doing their random bizarre things. And to top it all off, you know, they just talk about like these really good proverbs that I can't remember, but they're Japanese proverbs, and they had a lot of good sayings, but I can't remember any of them. And I have to say that was Kaido Maru. Yeah, as you can tell by my explanation, really weird, right? I mean, not a lot to go off of. Well, once again, realistically, the movie is only 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Not enough time, I think, to give Kaido Maru a visually stunning piece, you know, for story enough time. Because, I mean, we get the general basis for the stories. Overthrow, political intrigue, disease, death, horror, devastation, you know, taking over an entire country, all the regular jazz. The thing that hurt this movie the most was sorry guys. The thing that hurt this movie the most was the short runtime. And I had a feeling if this movie was longer and they used it to flesh out more of the characters, like Suetake, for example, you know, like Suetake, Michinaga, even Sadamitsu and hell, to some extent, Raiko Minamoto, because, you know, like, he just sort of showed up out of nowhere and just like, hey, I like you, do you like me, or, you know, shit like that. I'm sorry, guys, try not to swear, so, apologies. Maybe try to add that, but I'll post an explicit warning. But either way, you know, it goes on and just, you know, does those weird things in the movie. So it's hard to understand it and much less comprehend it. And, you know, I mean, that's what hurt it too, was the short movie time really made for lack of development, lack of plot, you know, because you don't understand everything. Like, for instance, did Onihime die that day at the thing? Was that like, that was a fatal wound, or was that not a fatal wound? Like, or could she have recovered from that wound? So that's what we don't know, and she also refuses to, you know, share, because I guess, like, the author, movie creators, and everything don't share that either, and to that same time and token, the same thing could be said for Masakato, because why does Masakato have a similar face to Kentoki's? Why does he look like a young Kentoki? You know, there was all those things they didn't solve either, and, you know, interesting stuff. So, I mean, overall, you know, the movie, just, it didn't deliver on every aspect like it should have, and the runtime kills this movie. Just the 45 minutes kills it, so there's not enough going into it, and not even enough on Kentucky, believe it or not, because, like, we don't know what Kaido Maru stands for. At least I don't, and, you know, Kentucky, even though an integral part of the film, she really didn't get to do much. She had a couple of moments, but she really didn't get to do much. That was another downside as well. And, I mean, overall, the movie suffers from, you know, very big lack of plot and very big lack of character and just time in general. So if I had to give you guys a rating on Kaido Maru after we seeing it, I would love, for my husband or not, sorry. I had Daenerys in the mind there for a moment. So, apologies. That's another goof there. Bleh. And I'm also tired from work, so apologies. I was almost falling asleep there in my dream world. Didn't look it probably, but yeah, I could tell I was. But yeah, just from lack of story and everything, it just suffers. And if I had to rate this movie, probably between 6 and 7 out of 10. I mean, it's really hard to give it a solid, like a solid 7. If I had to give it a solid, a 6, just for the action in the movie. The action in the movie's great, and the animation's great. But everything else just sort of suffers so badly. And like I said, between a 6 or 7 out of 10, it's not fair, but not much I can do either because the film didn't deliver that high end things. But hey, let me know what you think of Kaido Maru, because to me, I still enjoy this movie, even though it has a middle rating. I still enjoy it well. Like I said, love the animation, love the action. That's good stuff. But yeah, everything else was just a little shortchanged. But so just go let all your reviewers know, let them know what's going on. And like I said, if you guys know what Kaido Maru means, drop me a line. Let me know what it means so I can also feel cool about that. And I'll give you guys mad props for whoever does find that out for me. And let's see, trying to think, that was it. And this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review, and I will see you guys later, alright? Okay, peace.